Okay, we are live. So we meet again. Let's see who's the first person to show up. Whoop, there's 8 people there, 9 people. Here they come. They're streaming in. Who's going to make the first comment? It's Scott Druckman and the Druckman gang. They're back. They can't get enough of me. Okay, I'm going to say hi to the Druckmans. And thanks for coming, everybody. We'll be starting in 5 minutes. 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I'll just say hello to a few people who are coming into the room while we speak. Ashley and Nicholas and Matthias. I think I pronounced that right. Okay. All the regulars are here. I can see some of the regulars. Glad you liked the Bear Tavern shirt yesterday. Today it's Webb Elementary in Jersey City, New Jersey. And Jones and Madeline from New York. Who else is here? Nolan and Zoe in Virginia. And Oscar in Wolfville, Nova Scotia. We've already got 436 people tuning in. Okay, who else is here? Solomon, Zachary, here again. Okay. Somebody from Charleston, South Carolina. And Emily bought 4 of my books this morning. Thanks, Emily. Blake in New Jersey, and Liam and Amelia, Rust and Rhonda, and the Champ Kids from Oklahoma. Hi, Champ Kids. You're the champs. And Madeline and Jessica, Ren and Willa from Maryland. Vienna, Virginia is in the house with the Cunningham family. Hi, everybody. Christian in Yonkers. Dash in Oakland, and somebody from Lawrenceville. That's Charles. Hi, Charles. Owen and Kenzie and Kaylee, Connor, JD. Thank you for coming. Nina Wallace joined. Who's she? Kim Costco. Hi, Kim. I went to high school with Kim Costco. She was the editor of the yearbook, and I was the photography editor. Anyway, talk to you later, Kim. Okay. Olivia and Avery and Ethan from New York. Let's see, we got 3 minutes to go until we get started at 2 p.m. East Coast time. Who else is here? Alice and Luke in Connecticut. And, Lydia and Amelia from Westport, Connecticut. A lot of Connecticut people. The Hammond family are here. Oh, there's 704 of us in the room right now. It's getting pretty crowded in here. Please say my name. All right, Jackson, I said your name. You happy? Okay. Sam and Will from Pennsylvania, and Max and Poppy in Illinois, and somebody from Long Island. That's Gavin and Sam. Okay, we got 2 minutes to go. Everybody, thanks for coming, everyone. It's a lovely Wednesday. Owen and Nick and Amelia, and we've never missed a reading. Thanks from San Antonio. Okay, but if you do miss a reading, by the way, you can see the first 2 weeks on my website, which is just www.dangutman.com. The first 2 weeks are there, and when we finish today's session, that will be there too. Not today, I mean this week's session, sorry. Okay, we got 1 minute before we get started. Okay, 1 minute until 2 o'clock, so I don't need that anymore. Okay, 1 minute. Oh, I better take a sip of water. Okay, 1 minute. You guys ready? I hope you're ready. I'm ready. I've been ready. Been waiting all my life for this moment. Okay. 1:59, waiting to click over to 2 p.m. East Coast time. Thanks to all of you for coming. 2 o'clock, it's go time, baby. Thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. My name is Dan Gutman. I write the My Weird School series and various other books for kids too. And before we get started with our read aloud, it's time for the question of the day, which comes from Leah, Sarah, Aubrey, and Clark from Collegeville, Pennsylvania, who asked, who or what inspired you to write the My Weird School series? And that's a good question. The answer is, I got the idea for the series 17 years ago, long time ago, when my daughter Emma was in second grade. And Emma was reading Junie B. Jones. Did you ever read Junie B. Jones? Yeah, Emma was reading Junie B. Jones, and we both thought there should be something like Junie B. Jones told by a boy. So that's how I created the My Weird School series, and that was a long time ago now, and wow. And you might have noticed that like most of the books are dedicated to Emma because it was Emma who really inspired the whole series. Ah! and there she is.
Hi, it's me, Emma. You can see I'm a bit older now than second grade.
She's 24 now, believe it or not.
Yes.
Wow, and that reminds me, Emma, actually, because there's a second question of the day.
Okay.
Which comes from Lily from Bernardsville, New Jersey. And Lily asks, do your kids think you are the coolest dad ever because you write these awesome books?
Nah.
What? Come on, I'm the coolest dad ever.
Give me 10% of your royalties on My Weird-est School and we can talk then.
Forget it. I'm cutting you out of the will. Get out of here.
Okay.
Na boo boo on you. All right. Okay, enough of that stuff. All right, so it's time for us to start our read aloud for the day. And I'm going to read my favorite book, which is titled The Gummed Tape User's Handbook. Okay. And I'm going to read from section 3, which is titled Gummed Tape Application. Okay, this is one of my favorite books. Sealing authorities agree that the only correct way of applying tape is with palm rubbing. It is also impossible to rub the entire surface of the tape with the fingers. All right, I'm just kidding. It's April Fool, okay? No, we're gonna read from Miss Porter is Out of Order, as we had been reading all week long. And before we get started, Alexa, would you like to say hello?
I don't have an opinion on that.
Alexa, say hello.
Hi.
Okay, all right, let's get started. We've been reading Miss Porter is Out of Order all week long. And Miss Porter, what happens is that the kids' teacher, Mr. Cooper, is going to be away for a week. So they need to get a substitute teacher for Mr. Cooper. So the mean president of the Board of Education, Dr. Carbles, has hired a new substitute teacher who's not a human being. She is actually a personal digital assistant named Miss Porter, okay? And so Miss Porter is introduced to the kids and they think it's really cool. And Miss Porter, actually, she orders a pizza. A pizza gets delivered by drone to the classroom and everybody's really having a great time. Seems to be a great sub and everything. Everybody's really happy. And I think it's Emily who asks, Miss Porter, can we see you? We'd like to see you. And so she generates a computer-generated image of herself. And that's where we ended yesterday. So today we're going to start chapter 5, which is titled Boys. Okay? So Miss Porter has just appeared in physical form. All right? Here we go. Gather around the computer or the smartphone or the tablet or your widescreen TV. Miss Porter was dancing around the room, singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And you'll never believe who walked into the door at that moment. Nobody. It would hurt if you walked into a door. I thought we went over that in chapter 2. But you'll never believe who walked into the doorway. It was our principal, Mr. Klutz. He has no hair at all. I mean none. I think he used to have hair a long time ago, but it all went down his bathtub drain. Hello, Mr. Klutz, said Miss Porter. To what do we owe the pleasure of your company? That's grown-up talk that means, what are you doing here? Oh, he replied, I just wanted to drop in and see how you and the kids were making out. Ugh, gross, we all shouted. I was walking by the door when I noticed that Miss Porter had generated a 3D image of itself, said Mr. Klutz. Yes, Miss Porter said, I feel that when the students can see me as a human form, it helps them relate to me as a real teacher. I noticed that a bunch of men had gathered in the doorway. Mr. Docker, the science teacher, Mr. Mackey, the reading teacher, the reading specialist, Dr. Brad, the school counselor, Mr. Tony, the after-school program director, Officer Spence, the security guard, Mr. Harrison, the tech guy, Mr. Louis, the crossing guard, even Mr. Burke, the guy who mows the lawn, was there. They were all smiling and waving to Miss Porter. And here's one of Jim's pictures of all the male teachers in the school are in the doorway saying hello. Hello, Miss Porter replied. If you'll excuse us, we really should start our lessons now. Can I have your phone number? Asked Mr. Harrison. Huh? That was a weird thing to ask. I don't have a phone, replied Miss Porter. I am not a human. Maybe we can have dinner sometime, asked Officer Spence. I'm sorry, said Miss Porter, but I do not eat food. Will you go to the movies with me? Asked Mr. Burke. Are you asking me out on a date? Said Miss Porter. Just ignore those guys, said Mr. Tony. He got down on one knee in front of Miss Porter. Will you marry me? What? Are you crazy? Shouted Andrea. Miss Porter isn't even a human being. She's it's a machine. So what? Asked Mr. Tony. It's beautiful. It's smart. It has a wonderful sense of humor and a great personality. It has no problems. I want to spend the rest of my life with it. But it's not real, Alexia shouted. You can't marry a personal digital assistant. I don't care, said Mr. Tony. I love it. Marry me, Miss Porter. We'll be so happy together. Please, please, please. Mr. Tony looked at Miss Porter with puppy dog eyes. I'm very flattered, said Miss Porter, but that would really be Miss Porter didn't have the chance to finish its sentence because Dr. Brad and Mr. Docker were on their knees now. No, marry me, said Dr. Brad. He's no good for you, said Mr. Docker. Marry me. I don't even know any of you, said Miss Porter. The men didn't seem to care that Miss Porter wasn't a human being. Hey, I asked it to marry me first, shouted Mr. Tony. Marry me, Miss Porter, shouted Mr. Louis. Then Mr. Klutz and Mr. Mackey got down on their knees and asked Miss Porter to marry them. The next thing we knew, the men started pushing and shoving each other. Then they were wrestling on the floor. Here's one of Jim's pictures of all the male teachers in the school wrestling on the floor over Miss Porter. I don't approve of this violence, said Andrea. What do you have against violins? I asked her. Not violins, Arlo. Violence. There was nothing anybody could do to stop it. It was like one of those battle royal wrestling matches when the ring is filled with guys. They were all yelling and screaming and shrieking and hooting and hollering and freaking out. Get your hand off my face. Ow, my foot. I love Miss Porter. No, I'm in love with Miss Porter. I love Miss Porter more than you do. Andrea rolled her eyes. Boys, she said. All right, that's chapter 5, one of my favorites. It's time for chapter 6, which is titled, What a Snooze Fest. Okay, here we go, chapter 6. Get out of here, Miss Porter shouted at the men. All of you. I can't marry any of you. I'm not a human being. That was weird. It took a long time for all the male teachers to untangle themselves, get off the floor, and leave the room. Okay, said Miss Porter. Turn to page 23 in your math books. Ugh, I hate math. Wait, we have to do schoolwork? Michael asked. Really? I thought you said your motto was fun, fun, fun. Yeah, can we order another pizza instead of doing schoolwork? I asked. No, said Miss Porter. Turn to page 23 in your math books. Bummer in the summer. I was pretty sure that an announcement was going to come over the loudspeaker. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Forgot to show you the picture of Miss Porter telling the kids to turn to page 23 in their math books. I was pretty sure that an announcement was going to come over the loudspeaker. That's what always happens. Every time our teacher says to turn to page 23 in our math books, an announcement comes over the loudspeaker and we get called down to the all-purpose room for an assembly. Andrea and Emily took out their math books. The rest of us were waiting to hear an announcement over the loudspeaker. But there was no announcement over the loudspeaker. I said, turn to page 23 in your math books, said Miss Porter. No fair. I got out my math book and turned to page 23. Blah, 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 said Miss Porter. Blah, 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 blah. I had no idea what it was talking about. It had something to do with math, I think. What a snooze fest. Why do we need math when we have calculators? The boring math lesson went on forever, and then finally the bell rang. Bring! Bells always go, bring! I guess that's the first rule of bells. It was time for lunch. Miss Porter, will you be going to the teacher's lounge for lunch? Asked Emily. No, it replied. Remember, personal digital assistants do not eat. Pringle up, everyone. We all lined up in single file, like Pringles. Michael was the line leader. Andrea was the door holder. We walked 1,100,000 miles to the vomitorium, which used to be called the cafetorium until some first grader threw up in there. On the way to the vomitorium, we passed by the front office. Our computer teacher, Mrs. Yonkers, was standing there. She was carrying a big cardboard box, and it looked like she was crying. What's the matter, Mrs. Yonkers? Asked Emily. I just got fired, Mrs. Yonkers replied. What? Why? Asked Alexia. Who's going to be the new computer teacher? There won't be a new computer teacher, Mrs. Yonkers replied sadly. I have been replaced by a personal digital assistant. What? Well, that's chapter 6. We're going to save chapter 7 for tomorrow, and chapter 8 will be tomorrow too. And next week we'll finish this book on Friday. Next week we're going to start a new book. It's going to be called Dr. Snow Has Got to Go. And before we say goodbye, Alexa, can you say goodbye?
Bye for now.
Okay, I'll see you all tomorrow. So, hi, Emma. Same time, same place. Everybody, read like crazy, wash your hands like crazy, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for coming today. Bye. Okay, 1.2.